Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Reveals. So, what came in the mail this weekend was Quicksilver. Now, just a couple of weeks back, I ended up getting my Wasp Hero Pack, and Quicksilver Hero Pack is already here. So, I would normally say that Quicksilver was like really fast in arriving, but that's not really the case because I think Wasp was delayed a little bit and Quicksilver is back to the beginning of the month type distribution. So let's take a look at what's in the Quicksilver pack. So we're getting to a point where we're seeing the more mutant-y kind of characters come out. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch coming out pretty quick here, which they kind of had to do some, my understanding is they had to do some weirdness inside the universe in order to justify, that's why they were kind of created with the Infinity Stones rather than being mutants. But we'll see how that all works out in the near future with how all the movie rights and stuff are going. All right, so we got a pack of cards. We got Marvel Champions here. Let's see what our poster looks like. Ooh, all right. We're going to unfold it. And what do we have here? We've got Quicksilver running across the water, I think. Oh, there we go. Not going to fit. Well, it did kind of fit there. There we go. There's Quicksilver doing his thing. All right, let's see on the back. We got any great rules that we need to worry about there? We've got team up. We've got insight, which we've seen before, piercing, which we've seen before. And it looks like we're doing protection here. All right. Well, let's see what we have for cards. The fun part of all this, right? All right. Get out the knife. We're going to cut the top of the plastic here and see what Quicksilver holds for us. All right, some of the most exciting stuff. Some of these heroes have been great, but just the cards that they've added, like I think with Wasp, Thor became pretty powerful with the Wasp cards that came out. All right, let's take a look here. We've got Quicksilver, right? So actually, let's flip him over to the other side first. And we've got Pietro Maximoff. So there's our alter ego civilian, superpowered siblings. Discard 2 cards from your hand, draw 2 cards. So draw 3 if Wanda is in play. So that's pretty cool because you've got kind of a team up ability if Scarlet Witch is out there. Well, I guess it has to be Wanda, not Scarlet Witch. So that's kind of cool. What else do we have there? Hand size 6, hit points 9. We're under 10 hit points, but a hand size of 6 is pretty good. All right, recovery 3, nothing special there. What do we have on the other side here? We've got Quicksilver, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 1 defense, which seem like lame statistics. He's got super speed. After you use one of Quicksilver's basic powers, thwart, attack, defense, ready him, limit once per phase. All right, and a hand size of 5, so that's pretty good. Let's see here. So 1/1/1, but you're going to get to untap him once you use a basic power. So then you could use him to defend, or you could use that action again. So this is really going to be, can you build up Quicksilver? So I think if I recall correctly, what I've seen from the cards is they actually help push that type of thing forward. So let's see what we've got out there. At a base thing, he looks, not all that great. So if you had something that was going to clear your board, I don't know that you're going to end up with a very powerful hero naturally, something that's constantly taking away upgrades and supports, but it looks like he can build into something pretty powerful. All right, we got Scarlet Witch, which says, when you use one of your Scarlet Witch's basic powers, discard the top card of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, Scarlet Witch gets +1 to that power for use. Ooh, that's pretty nice. So it shows 1 and 1, but there's going to be a lot of times you get 3 boost icons on there. That's going to be pretty powerful. Now, I guess the thing to look at there is you're going to power your way through the encounter deck pretty quick there, but being able to potentially thwart for 4, I mean, she's going to grow in power as you take on more powerful enemies and situations. So that's kind of a neat aspect to that card, is she's going to be better in tougher situations. Cool. All right, so we have always be running, which is going to ready Quicksilver. pretty simple. It only costs one, like that. Now there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 of those in there, which is interesting because usually you've got only 3 of a card, but I guess the character deck can be an exception to that. You do have in Black Panther, you've got your Wakanda Forever, but they have different symbols on the side, and these are all the same. They're all energy and 1 cost. So interesting. All right. And that's going to go way back into you're going to get to use Quicksilver over and over again. All right, so we've got double time. Choose 2 of the following. You may choose that same option twice. Deal 2 damage. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. All right, what I like about that one, it only costs 2, and you're potentially getting rid of 4, and it's not actually an attack, and it's not actually a thwart. So that, to me, looks like it's going to be a pretty cool card. 2 for 4, whichever way you want it, and it's not going to trigger like you're going to get around a stunned or, confused with that card. So that's pretty awesome. I like that. All right. Maximum velocity, max 1 per phase. You get +2 thwart, +2 attack, +2 defense until the end of round. All right, there we go. There's our first thing to trigger off our make you do more damage, right? So normally you're 1, you do a couple of untaps and you get 3 attacks for 3. That's pretty cool. How many of those do we have? 1, 2 of those in there? Nice. All right, Speed Cyclone. Stun X enemies with a cost of X. Not sure what I think about that. That's a pretty cheap cost. That's 1 to stun 1 enemy, and then you could do multiple. All right, it's an interesting card. I'll be interested to see how that plays. Serval Industries, Alter Ego. Exhaust Serval Industries, shuffle 2 Quicksilver cards from your discard pile into your deck. Ooh, that looks really nice. So if you take that and add that in with your Always Be Running, that looks like it's going to be a power card, something you want to get out there right away, like as quickly as you can get that. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if that one's better than, well, I think from Wasp, right, you have the girl power, which is put 2 mental cards back in. So you still have to be Alter Ego to do this, and these are Quicksilver cards, not mental cards, but you're going to get your Always Be Runnings back in there pretty consistently, and there's enough in the deck that you're probably going to find them fairly early on. So yeah, I think that's going to be a good card. All right, Accelerated Reflex gets +1 defense, so it's an upgrade that's going to go out there. Do we have one for, well, let's see here. After you ready, so what I'm wondering is if you have one for each attribute. We'll see. All right, so Friction Resistance. After you ready Quicksilver, ready this card. Exhaust Friction Resistance, generate a physical resource. Yeah. So is that like your Yarnborn maker right there? That's pretty crazy. All right. We've got Hyper Perception. There's our +1 thwart. So we have +1 defense. Now we've got +1 thwart, and we have +1 attack. So you can boost everything up to 3 naturally. Then you can throw that, what was the other card in there? Maximum Velocity. So you could get everything up to 3. You add another 2, so you're up to 5. Yeah, that's looking pretty powerful. And you can do that multiple times per round. Yeah, he's looking like once he builds, he's going to be a problem to contend with. All right, let's see what else we have in here. We've got Multiple Man, which costs 4, 1, 1, and 2. Those are horrible attributes in a cost. But what do we have underneath there? Well, X Factor, that's interesting. After Multiple Man enters play, search your deck and hand for a copy of Multiple Man and put it into play. Shuffle your deck if it was searched this way. Oh, okay. So you're going to get multiple Mans. All right, 1, 2, 3 of them. Oh, that's kind of cool. So you could, it's going to be very dependent, I guess, on how he comes out. If you're playing, I'm trying to think, if you got stuff that boost up allies, those could be really good. And you got a bunch of blockers potentially. I don't know. I'll be interested to see how he plays out. All right, Warlock, which is one of my favorites from the comics. So Warlock, 1/1 for 3. He's X Factor also. Spend a mental resource, heal up to 2 damage from Warlock. Pretty cool. That's another one where if you can boost him up, he's going to be pretty nice. I'm wondering, is like a Spider-Woman leadership protection deck might be a thing. Might be some interesting allies to go there. I don't know. See if somebody plays that. Never back down. So now we've got a, when you defend against an attack, you get +2 defense for this attack. If you take no damage from the attack, stun the attacking enemy. Like that one for a cost of 1. That's pretty good. Now, personally, I don't play a whole lot of protection. Looks like a good card to me. All right, sidestep, hero interrupt, defense. When you would take any amount of damage, prevent 3 of that damage. If you paid for this card using a energy resource, deal 1 damage to an enemy. That seems pretty nice for a 1-cost card too. All right, we got 3 of those in there. We got an old armored vest, which is gonna give you +1 defense. So theoretically, Quicksilver can get +3 defense, which is going to be really nice when you attack. And then you can untap potentially and save yourself for defense. Because that's always been kind of the rough thing is when you defend during a turn, you don't get to do anything else for the rest of the turn. You may be able to do that, defend, and then come back and attack on the next turn. I like it. All right, what do we have here? So it'd be interesting to see a defensive Quicksilver based around not attacking all that often. Or maybe that's how this deck is meant to be played. That'll be interesting. Or if that's how this deck is meant to be played is defend, 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 and then go crazy with a bunch of attacks in one turn. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, we got Nerves of Steel, which is an upgrade. So it's going to go out there, play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Exhaust Nerve of Steel, generate a energy resource for a defense event. Oh, and we had a ton of them in this deck, so this is going to be a good upgrade for this deck. That's also one of the concerns. That's one of the things why I don't like protection a whole lot, is I feel like I'm removing cards from my hand when I don't want to, and that's just my play style. But this is going to help with that because you're going to be able to pay for, rather than cards, using cards in your hand to pay for defense cards to play. You're going to have something out there to help pay for it. All right, Order and Chaos. This is our team up card. So you got to have Scarlet Witch out there. When a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effect, then deal 2 damage to the villain. All right, that is a good team up card. I like that one better than the Ant-Man Wasp ones. So being able to cancel treacheries, beautiful thing. Very beautiful thing. All right, so then we've got an energy, a genius, strength. Those are all ones we know about. What do we got here? We've got Adrenaline Rush. Hero action, discard Adrenaline Rush. Your hero gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. Oh my gosh, because he needed more of that, right? Holy cow. So you're going to get, so you can get a +2, then you can get your standard +1. Then you can throw some Adrenaline Rushes on there. Oh my god. What do you have? You have how many, 3 of these in there? Crazy. All right. Quicksilver is going to have some insane rounds, I think is going to be the end result of that. There's some pretty gross combos in there. All right, we've got Civic Duty. Civic Duty, your hero gets +1 thwart until the end of phase. All right. And yeah, let's see 3 of those in there. All right. So that's going to comprise your Quicksilver deck there. So yeah, it looks like you're going to be building until you do some insane rounds with your Servile Industries and your Always Be Running. You got some double time it's probably going to use to kind of keep things in check for a little while, and then you go off with a bunch of Always Be Runnings. Yeah, that's going to be fun to play. All right, for those people that like to build up combo decks, I think that's going to be fun to play. All right, so let's take a look at our obligation there. We've got Need for Speed, Exhaust, remove need to proceed from the game. That's kind of your standard. Exhaust your identity. You cannot ready your identity until your next turn ends. Discard this obligation. Okay, so kind of get you stuck in line there. I like that. And what do we have here? We've got extortion of seismic proportions. Insight 1, and it's got 2 per player. Well, it's not all that bad, but you got 3 boost icons on there. And we've got Avalanche here. So Avalanche is 1 scheme, 2 attack. The Brotherhood of Mutants. So we're calling out the mutants there. Insight 2. Then when revealed, each player must choose to either take 2 indirect damage or exhaust their identity. Ooh, that could be a bad thing when that comes out. Sometimes you're playing right along that line. That 2 indirect damage can be pretty rough. Vibration resistance attached to Avalanche. If able, you cannot attach to the villain. Okay, so it's going to go to Avalanche or the villain. Reduce the damage attached enemy takes from each attack by 1. Ooh, okay. So that's a good counter for what Quicksilver is doing there, because he's based around doing multiple attacks, right? So if each attack is reduced by 1, that's going to mess you up pretty good. So that's a good card. It's a good counter card there. Got an Earthquake. Again, we've got the Insight going on. Discard 2 cards from your hand and exhaust your identity. Ouch. And we've got Boost. Choose either spend 2 physical resources or exhaust your identity. Well, there's a whole lot of exhausting going on. All right, so now we're outside the pre-built Quicksilver deck. So we'll have to do a play with that pretty soon. Let's see what other cards we got in here. We've got, for a cost of 1, we've got an upgrade, Brute Force. And nobody better to show that off than the Hulk. You get +1 attack. Your basic attacks gain piercing. And then force responds after you make a basic attack, discard Brute Force. All right, so there's nothing saying that you can't have multiples of those out there. But it's going to go away right after you attack. So you're going to build up to a big attack. So I'm liking that card. +1, and you gain piercing, so it's going to go right through any toughness. So that way you make sure that your big attack is actually going to land and doesn't get soaked up by some of that cheesy toughness that a lot of villains tend to run. I like it. So we got 3 of those. What's next? Justice. We've got Sense of Justice. Resource, exhaust Sense of Justice, generate a mental resource for a thwart event. All right. Yeah, it's nice, I guess. I don't know that I'm super excited about that. I'm guessing, well, you got to be playing. Well, I'm trying to think here. Am I? No, I'm not all excited about that. I think there's other cards I would rather have. For a cost of 2, it's not too bad to get out there, and I guess it's persistent. But it's only for a thwart event, so you'd have to find the right deck. I've got a feeling if you were running She-Hulk Justice, this might be a good card for you in that deck. All right, so I'm gonna take some Sense of Justices out there. United We Stand. So play only if your hero has the Avenger trait, heal 1 damage from up to X friendly characters to a maximum of 3 characters, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. So there's another thing where we're scaling. The bigger the villain is, we're going to scale on that. So it costs 0. That's kind of nice. And it's only going to heal 1 damage. So it's all right card. I mean, maybe if you could recycle them, it would be good. I don't know. Got mixed feelings on that one. Is anybody super excited about that card? I don't know that I am. I think it's okay, but I don't know what I would play it in that would make me, like, I guess it's better than the First Aid, but yeah. Seems okay, but I'm not super excited about that one. It is a leadership card, right? So you're playing in your leadership deck with all your allies, and it costs 0. That's better than a First Aid, maybe. All right, beat 'em up. Oh, I like She-Hulk. Action, deal 1 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with you. I like it. Costs 2. And then you're doing 1 across the board. So it's kind of like a one-shot Squirrel Girl, I guess. I like that card as a basic. And then, well, it's got She-Hulk artwork on it too, which is a big bonus. So, too easy, says She-Hulk. So, all right, Quicksilver deck. General thoughts there. Looks like, so first of all, not a protection player. So, that's going to be a tough thing for me with the Quicksilver deck. I usually have more of an aggression go right after him. It looks like Quicksilver is a protect and build a little bit, and then he can do some crazy damage. So you're going to need, I'm guessing, a little bit of build time to be able to get yourself into a spot where you've got your upgrades out there, and then you just fire off a whole bunch of, where'd they go? There they go. They'll always be run-ins. You're just going to fire off a ton of those and do some insane damage. I am really intrigued by Scarlet Witch and what she's going to be able to do as you play tougher villains. That's kind of cool. The fact that she scales based on the amount of boost icons is kind of nice. So, all right, there we go. So, what are you guys thinking about Quicksilver? Protection? Is that what you're gonna run him with protection, or is he gonna be an aggression? He needs to build, so I'm guessing that's protection is going to be his thing. I don't know that justice makes a whole lot of sense for him. It looks like he could untap and thwart potentially a lot. He's got some boosts to his thwart ability, so with the right stuff, he could probably clear the board pretty well of a lot of thwart that's with a lot of threat that's out there. That might be a neat use for him. The stun cyclone is kind of cool. I'd be interested to see that in play, like people actually find that card really, really valuable or not, whether they're kind of like, it's okay. Another really interesting one is Multiple Man. It's a high cost for a low power ally, but you have the potential of bringing a lot of them into play, so could be useful that way. Interested to see what people think. These cards in general, these Civic Duty cards and the Adrenaline Rush look like nice boost cards that may potentially make their way into other decks, I'm thinking. That's pretty nice. Do you like Warlock? One of my favorite characters from the comics. And the villain in here is actually really good. Your Nemesis minion is pretty awesome, I think. So, all right. So what's my winner out of this deck? Oh, and his team up card is really good. I like their team up card. The Scarlet Witch. I feel a lot better about that card than the one that came out of the Ant-Man Wasp deck. Like that makes me want to get the pair of folks out there. The Ant-Man Wasp one, I'm kind of like, it would be nice when it comes into play, but I think this one is more than nice. I think that's a good card. I like that. All right, so what's your favorite card from this set? Is it Nerves of Steel? Is it Never Back Down? I don't know. Let me know what you think. I think I'm going to call out my favorite card as, what are we going to go with here? Not Multiple Man. He's not my favorite card out of this whole set. Maybe the Sidestep, because I don't want to call out one of Quicksilver's cards, because that's not really fair. I want something that's added to this set. I don't know. I do like to beat 'em up a lot, and the Brute Force is pretty nice. I can see it going into decks. I don't know that there's a card that is going to go into every deck that I see out of here. The Adrenaline Rush is pretty nice. So, favorite card, I think in the end I'm going to call my favorite card is going to be the Beat 'em Up. I think I like that card. I think I like the 1 damage spread across everything that's out there. It's not going to be a card that goes in every deck, but there's going to be heroes that could really, and the fact that it's a basic card, so you can put it in, like it's going to be high utility when you go to fight things like Ultron, right? That's your Ultron drone killer that any hero can run. So I like that a lot. Like that will be a good counter to a bunch of things that you run into out there. It's interesting as the card set expands, just how many of these cards will give abilities potentially to other heroes that you may be lacking. Like Thor is looking fairly powerful now with some of the other sets that came out. They gave him some really nice cards to make use of. So, all right, let me know what you think about Quicksilver. How you're going to play him? What are you going to team him up with? Who's going to be your second hero that you play with Quicksilver? Like if you're going to team him up with another hero, who's the one that you think complements him the best as you play? So anyway, let me know in the comments, and appreciate you watching, and see you later.